So today, we're gonna go real stupid. And I think it's gonna be a good time. And we're going to give book recommendations to the Cullen family from Twilight. Why? Because we can. Hello, everybody. Before we jump in, I think y'all need to appreciate what I did with my outfit here. Like, we got some shiny, sparkling, if you will, going on. And then you probably will never see it, but these, no, don't focus on my face, focus on the earring. No, it's not gonna do it. It says Super Heyman. So, probably the one and only time I'll put effort into my outfit, so don't get used to it. But I was pretty proud of myself, so. I got this idea from Ariel Bissett's podcast, Books Unbound. You're gonna hear that a lot, because I am binging all of her podcast episodes. I love it. It's such a break from reality. Let us start with the reason we talk about the Cullen family at all in Twilight, Mr. Edward. I don't think anyone can really argue that he is a snooty McSnooterson to the 10th degree, right? He's been around the block many times. He's made many laps around the block. And he likes to read, he likes to mope, he likes to be pretentious, he's into the literary scene. So I had a hard time picking a book for him because he probably has already read it. But I think he'd really connect with Holden Caulfield in Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Isn't that just perfect? Like, they would so get along. Like, complaining about how phony people are, how bad humanity is, the pointlessness of existence. Oh man, they would have the ultimate bromance. And I think Edward could just really relate. I struggled to come up with a book recommendation, but once I locked in on this one, I'm like, yeah, this is so his vibe. Oh, I forgot to mention what Catcher in the Rye is about. It's this whiny ass bitch named Holden Caulfield wandering around, I think it's New York, complaining about life. And nothing happens. Yeah, that's the book. Now, for Alice. Alice was a little bit tricky. I just can't see her sitting down and reading a book. She's all over the place, and she probably can see what is going to happen in the book. You know, she can see the future. So I don't know if that works with her book reading as well. But then I thought of Fly on the Wall by E Lockhart. So Fly on the Wall, I think, would be great for her because it's just as much about the journey as it is the destination. It's about this high school girl who ends up being transformed into a fly in the boys' locker room. And so it's super funny and quirky, and she gets to learn about the boys and their struggles and what they're going through and the behind the scenes that girls normally don't get to see. And that's very much Alice, right? Like, she gets this like bird's eye view of life because she sees the future and all the possibilities of the future, and it kind of makes her an outsider, but she also gets to see so much more of everyone else's life. So I think it'd be funny, quirky, easy read that Alice could probably actually relate to. So I was very proud when I thought of that. Next we have Carlisle. He is the father of the family. He's a doctor. He has all this like morality baggage because he's a vampire, but he wants to save lives. His like daddy back in the day was like a priest or some shit. I don't know. And so I was scrolling through my Goodreads of the books I've read. I'm like, oh, Carlisle. Perfect book for him. Complications. A Surgeon's Notes on an Imperfect Science by Atul Gawande? God, names. Just blanket apology for names. Anyway, this is a memoir about a surgeon talking about this profession you have, this science that is ever changing, ever evolving, and then at the same time you have the imperfectness of human beings and their messy lives and how that can complicate this entire field of medicine and science and morality and ethics and how hard it is to live that life day in and day out. And I think Carlisle would really relate. I think he would find the topic of medicine, ethics, and morality really fascinating. Is the constant struggle that he is currently having thoughts and interplay around. And you know, he probably doesn't get to talk that much with like other people in the medical profession because he has to keep a low profile. And I think he would just be really intrigued to see what's going on with other people's experience in the medical community. Then we have Esme. Esme, we don't get a whole lot of, but she's like, I just get the vibes from her of her being like a stereotypical like white middle-aged mom. She just loves her kids. Her life kind of revolves around them and she just wants everyone to do good, but she's stressed out because her kids are like growing up and being messy little vampires, nearly ending the world. So I decided to go for, I think, a stereotypical mom read, which is Under the Tuscan Sun by Frances Mays. And I think this is perfect for her because she can pretend to be out in the sun that she can no longer be in because she is a vampire. And it's like such a beautifully written book with like really no problems. Like it's a memoir and about a woman who gets a villa in Italy and they're like refurbishing it. And there's just like small hiccups, like, oh, the landscaping didn't quite turn out the way we want, or like, oh, we found out X, Y, and Z about the kitchen. In between, you get like these beautiful descriptions of like the food she's cooking and like the scenery in Italy. And yeah, I think Esme would really vibe with that. Then we have Jasper. And he was another tricky one because I don't see him reading for fun. I see him maybe potentially, if he did reading for knowledge or like strategy, like tactics, because, you know, he fought in the Civil War and he was like a sergeant or some shit. I don't know. But then I thought of Catch-22 by Joseph Heller because it is about a war, but a different war than what Jasper was in. And it plays off of the satire and the parody and the ridiculousness of war and going off to war and fighting these other people and all of the like crossed wires and just no one knows what's happening and what's going on. And it's so meaningless. And I think it would really help Jasper grapple with his own experience of the war and start to unpack some of the trauma that he's been through. So I think it'd be a very beneficial book for him to read. Yeah. Then we have Emmett. My good old boy Emmett. I can't see him reading anything. He's just like so like the ultimate like frat bro jock type, and I'm amazed if he knows how to read, to be honest. So this was a bit of a stretch. But then like as I again was like looking through like my Goodreads roster, figuring out what book for him, it came to me. It came to me. And so I was like, okay, Emmett. He likes adventure. He likes the outdoors. He's the strong type. He was mauled nearly to death by a bear. And I was like, oh my God. Hatchet by Gary Paulson. So for those that don't know, I used to work at a juvenile detention center with a lot of like young boys who did not like to read, but they suddenly found themselves with nothing better to do for a good chunk of the day. And they ate Hatchet up. They loved it. They read through it so fast. They recommended it to the other boys. Like they practically had their own little book club going on. And it's perfect. It's a like middle grade survival story of this boy who crashes, like his plane crashes and he's the only survivor and he has to get through the wilderness and make it out alive. And I think if Emmett was going to read, he would read something that's like fast-paced adventure, like heart racing. It's outdoors, it's survival. I think there's even a bear in it. Yes, it's short, it's easy words because it's middle grade. This would be Emmett's book. This would be his shit. This would be his one book club. And then finally, we have Rosalie, who's the cranky, beautiful lady of the bunch. She wanted to be married and have kids, but that was not in the cards. And she was raped and killed by men. So she's a bit salty. So what book for her? What book for a salty bitch? I think she needs to read, for her own good, The Awakening by Kate Chopin. And the reason for this is that I think she needs to take the life she wanted to have off of a pedestal and realize like there's more than one way to be trapped, and that like you have to create your own meaning in life. It's really about the journey, not so much the destination, because it's about this woman who has everything that Rosalie wants. Like, she's married, she has kids, she has a nice life, she has a husband, and she's still unhappy and like grappling with like, okay, this is what I've been told I should be aiming for, and I'm still not satisfied. What now? And so I think that would be a really enlightening read for Rosalie. So those are my recommendations for the Cullen family of Twilight. Was this video a complete waste of time? Probably, but I had a lot of fun. Let me know what you would recommend to the Cullen fan if you want to indulge with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.